having a good day for the most part. I hope that all is well within your guys' families and in your work schedules, and I hope all of you are having a most pleasant holiday season, as I plan on probably making that worse for somebody. I mean that in the aspect of tonight we are going to be talking about the most committed crime, sex crime against children in each state, but we're only going to cover 5 states tonight. So this will be one of a 10-part series I'm going to do. And each day, each series, each day we will cover 5 states at a time. So without any further delay, let's get started. Anyway, this is Aaron. This is Aaron with Get2Know. With Get2Know, and I am Get2Know. I hope all you can hear me. We shall soon see. So, let's get started. Sexual abuse crimes in each state. We'll start in alphabetical order, and we'll start with Alabama. Alabama, the number one crime against children committed sexually is rape. 2 is rape in the second degree. 3, sexual misconduct. 4, indecent exposure. And 5, juvenile sex charges. State number two is Alaska. The number 1 is sexual assault against the minor. And number 2 is sexual abuse of a minor. Arizona, number 1. This one shocked me. This one really got me. I was kind of blown away by the fact of this. But the number 1 sex crime against children in Arizona is child sex trafficking. I was really blown away by that fact. And the number 2 crime in Arizona for sex crimes against children is child pornography, whether it be possession of it, distribution of it, receiving it, sending it. Any form of child pornography is the number 2 committed sex crime against children in Arizona. Arkansas. Number 1 in Arkansas is rape of a child. Number 2 is the sexual assault against a child. Seems like it's a common trend there, with all of these so far. And state number 5 tonight is California. California's number 1 crime against children is rape, and number 2 is child sexual abuse. So those are the top 2 sex crimes committed against children in California. If rape of a child and child sexual abuse are the 2 most common forms of sexual abuse towards children in California, think about this for a second. California has some of the harshest and most strictest penalties against sexual abuse towards children than any other state in the United States of America. And yet the reports are showing that these numbers of rape towards children and sexual abuse towards children are only going up and up and up and keep getting higher and higher and higher each and every year. So what does that say? If California has some of the strictest penalties for sex crimes against children, and yet their numbers keep rising every single year, what does that mean? Obviously, the penalties aren't harsh enough. What's up, Sugar Glider? Thank you for being here. I appreciate the support. Um, so, in a state that has some of the most strictest penalties against pedophiles, and the numbers aren't going down, maybe it's time to make a change. I'm just saying. I mean, most people don't agree with me. Most people will. Hello, Coffee Talk. Hello, Coffee Talk. I'm glad you're here. I appreciate it. The support means the world to me. Um, that's for sure. I'm glad you made it live. Um, if you want me to start over, just put a 10 in the chat. If you want me to start back over real quick and fill you in on what today's live's about, I can do that real quick for you. But if California has some of the strictest penalties towards these parasites that commit these crimes against children, and it's not making a difference, it's just the numbers just keep going up and up, and the number of victims keep getting higher and higher, and the number of victims continually go up and up and up and up and up over each year, and they got some of the strictest laws or penalties against them. Against these perpetrators. What do you think the problem is? I believe that the problem is that the penalties are not strict enough. They're not harsh enough. They're not grab you by the fucking ass serious enough offense or penalties to make people want to change. My opinion on that is simple. Like, I'm not one of those ones that believe that pedophilia, that you're born a pedophile, or I don't believe that it's a certain chromosome or gene in your DNA. I don't believe that it's something that you're born to do. I refuse to believe it. I believe that being a pedophile is a choice and a conscientious decision that you make as a human being to participate in. And I'm just saying that I think the penalties should be way worse than they are right now for all forms of childhood sexual abuse towards children. I think that this country is way too lenient on pedophiles, and people have this persona and this idea that once a pedophile gets sent to prison, that they'll be handled or they'll be dealt with. But what most people don't realize is that 99% of anybody who reaches the inside of a prison as a pedophile won't ever see general population. Now, that's where shit can get dangerous, is general population. I've never personally been to prison. I've had family members that went to prison for all types of reasons: burglary, robbery, selling drugs, and shit like that. And I've even had a couple family members go to prison for lewd and lascivious acts against children. And what people think happens on the inside of the prison walls really don't happen all that often. The chances are that the general population will get to a pedophile is extremely low. So when people say, well, they'll get their justice when they get to prison, they don't handle that shit. Well, you're right. They don't deal with that shit in prison. But if you're a sex offender in the state of Idaho anyway, like they literally have their own unit where they're kept separate from the general population, where they're kept isolated with other pedophiles and people who have committed these crimes against children. They're kept in the same unit as others like them. They're not allowed to go out into the general population. They're and I'm pretty sure it's like that in most every state, and it's fucking ridiculous. It's disgusting. It makes me upset and it pisses me off. Um, Not only have they committed a crime that I think is worse than murder, I they've committed a crime that is so horrific that it literally changes the outcome of the victim's life for the rest of their life, whether they know it or not. So, people who think that Big Bubba is going to get to this person who sodomized a child under the age of 12 when he gets to prison, the likelihood that Big Bubba is going to get a chance to get to this parasite are really low, or extremely low. The only chance a victim has to get any justice is in the courtroom, and it's all too often that the court don't even give the proper justice to the victim of sex crimes, and it breaks my heart. It makes me sad, and it fucking pisses me off. It downright makes me mad as fuck. I think that pedophilia is the worst crime and action a human being can take against another innocent human being. Uh, I know for me that my abuse has fucked with me since it's happened, and it stopped happening when the summer I turned 12, and it's been a struggle ever since then. And it started when I was 5, and it's been a struggle ever since then. Every time my parasite would touch me and make me give him oral sex, he murdered a part of me. Um, but the whole thing, the one thing that's different between an actual murder victim and me, or a sexual victim, is we have to relive our murder of that part of us every single day of our lives for the rest of our lives until the day we die. So it only seems fitting to me that penalties be a lot stricter. Like if you get charged and convicted of sexual assault towards a child, you should do the rest of your life in prison. If you literally penetrated a child and you're an adult and you penetrated a child, you should receive the fucking death penalty. I believe that it should be a capital fucking crime. Hands down, a capital crime. It has so much negativity. This one action that one person can do to another has so much negativity attached to it, and the outcome of that child's life is going to be fucked up for the rest of that child's life into adulthood and beyond. It's horrible. I know I got my struggles that I still struggle with, and I'm 43 years old. I mean, I haven't been sexually assaulted in over 30 years, and it still fucks with me. I know personally it still fucks with my wife. I know I have other friends who have been sexually abused, and it still fucks with them. Um, it's one of the world's, in my opinion anyway, it's the world's biggest, most disgusting thing a human being can do to a child, and yet it's one of the least popularly talked about crimes in the United States. I just think that this country has shit bass backwards when it comes to the severity of crimes and which crimes should be most top priority and lower priority. Like, I don't think I don't think a person who sells drugs should do more time than a person who sexually rapes a child. That's just fucking ridiculous to me. Like, I don't, the logic behind it don't make sense to me, but yet it happens every day. Um, our country has turned a blind eye to this problem, and it's time we make a change, you guys. It really is. It's really time to make a change. If you want to make an impact and see dramatic changes, then we have to take drastic measures. Like, let's see how many sex crimes get committed if we make any kind of sex crime towards children um, a mandatory life sentence in prison without parole. Let's see how many numbers drop in the first 2 years. Let's see. Let's just start out with that. Each state is different, and that's where it gets all confusing. I think what sexual assault is in one state should be the same as sexual assault in all other 49 states in America. um, I think all sex crimes towards children should be federally mandated into federal cases. Like, it should be one classification, one penalty for one crime. Not one crime in 50 different states has 50 different penalties. That's bullshit, and it makes things too complicated. Let's say a person gets uh, gets charged with sexual sodomy of a child under the age of 7, and it gets proved that this really happened, and this child was sodomized by an adult, and that penalty in one state is 10 years up to life in prison, and another state it's 5 years to life in prison, and in another state it's 1 year to 10 years in another state. It just don't make sense to me. It should be one crime. It doesn't matter if a child gets sexually sodomized in Alabama or in Tennessee or in Texas or whatever fucking state you want to throw in there, Michigan, Delaware, any of them. If a child gets sexually sodomized in one state, the penalty for being sodomized in one state should be the same penalty it is in each and every state. These crimes need to be federally mandated, and that's honestly how I feel and I believe about it. I don't really I really don't care if people think my opinion is a popular one or a good one or a bad one, because it's my opinion. So your opinion of me is not going to affect me at all. Say hi, everybody. Say hi, Noya. Say hi, grandson. This is grandson. This is my grandson. This is my grandson. This is my grandson. Say hi, grandson. Hi, grandson. Hi, grandson. Okay, get out of here. So, anyway, I'll go back over them real quick. Uh, the most committed sex crimes against children in each state. We'll do 10-part series. This is part 1. Alabama is rape. Number 2 is rape in the second degree. Number 3 is sexual misconduct. Number 4 is indecent exposure, and number 5 is juvenile sex charges. That's Alabama. Alaska. Number 1 is sexual assault towards a minor, and number 2 is sexual abuse of a minor. Arizona, the sexual. Oh, this one surprised me. This one shocked me. The number 1 committed sex crime committed against children in Arizona is sex trafficking. And number 2 is child pornography. Any and all forms of child pornography, whether making it, receiving it, sending it, or what have you, doing it, it's the number 2. Arkansas is rape of a child, and number 2 is sexual abuse against the child. Those are the 2 top ones in Arkansas. California is rape, and number 2 is child sexual abuse. Those are the top crimes for sexual abuse charges towards children in the first 5 states in the United States, and we will cover the next 5 probably tomorrow. For those of you who may not know the difference it can be a fine line between what a person's understanding of each charge is, and Uh, Definition of rape. The FBI defines rape as the penetration, no matter how slight, of the vagina or anus with any body part or object, or oral penetration by a sex organ of the other person without consent from the victim. That's what the FBI's definition of rape is. Sexual assault in the definition of sexual assault, according to the FBI, refers to sexual conduct or behavior that occurs without explicit consent of the victim. Some of those may be attempted rape, fondling or unwanted touching, sexual touching, forcing the victim to perform sex acts like oral sex or penetrating the perpetrator's body. That's the difference between rape and sexual assault, according to the FBI. Um, Force, as defined by the FBI, force doesn't always mean physical pressure. It can also be emotional force, coercion, um, psychological force. There's many ways to force somebody to do something for you. You don't have to physically force them. So there's those. Um, One thing I did notice a lot of these states have in common, one of the top three, four crimes against children is solicitation of minors, and it's a crime that has not as much physical damage to a child, but a lot of damage to the child all the same. And solicitation of minors is defined term. You're making this difficult for me, bud. Um, Sometimes referred to as child enticement. This is solicitation of minors. So sometimes referred to as child enticement is defined as intentionally enticing, alluring, persuading, or inviting a child under the age of 16 to enter a vehicle, home, office, or another dwelling for the purpose of having sexual intercourse or engaging in any sexual act such as sodomy, fondling, molestation, or sexual assault. So that's one of the most common that I've seen that all states have a major problem with is solicitation or enticing of a child. Um, even though most of the times there, Even though most of the times there's no physical contact, there's still the predator contact with a child, and it's just fucked up. It's one of the most committed. I don't like saying popular, but it's one of the most popular forms of sexual abuse towards children and exploitation of children. So we need to pull our fucking heads out of our asses, you guys, and we really need to make a stand for what is really important in this country. Is your neighbor upstairs smoking drugs that big of a problem, or is your neighbor that's upstairs raping his child and his nieces and nephews, is that the problem? Like, which one of those two would you have more of a problem with? I mean, think about it. I'd like to know. Whoever watches this, leave your comments. Leave your comments down below. Let me know what you think. If you think we need to have tougher penalties for crimes against children, or if we need to have tougher penalties against people who sell drugs or do drugs. I mean, I know where I sit. I know where I stand on it. I know what I think about it. And I don't think that way because I'm a drug addict. I think that way because I'm a human being who thinks logically about shit and puts the seriousness of these crimes in order of what kind of effect they're going to have on other people. And Whether a person is a drug addict or not, that really doesn't have any direct effect. My neighbor being a drug addict doesn't have any direct effect on me, whether he's a drug addict or not. I really don't give a fuck what he does, as long as he's not upstairs molesting his child or his niece or nephew or who have you. As long as he's not sexually abusing somebody, I really don't give a fuck what they do. So I mean, it's time we quit fighting about what things are important in this country, and really think about what really is important for this country, and that is our children and protecting our children. And we're not doing a good job of it. We're not. Everybody wants to hush it and keep it quiet and sweep it under the rug, and don't say sexual assault on YouTube, and don't say pedophile on YouTube, or please use SA. Well, fuck all that shit. He's not an SA. He's a motherfucking sexual. It's motherfucking sexual assault. It's motherfucking sexual abuse. That's what it is. That's why it's gotten so bad, is because people started giving out participation trophies, and making sure everybody didn't get their feelings hurt and didn't get upset by things people said, or any of that stuff. So I don't give a fuck what anybody thinks. Like, we need to call it like we see it, and it's the biggest fucking problem in our country, hands down, the biggest problem in our country. So again, I'm gonna tie this. I'm gonna wrap this up real quick, but I'm gonna do a little challenge to anybody who watches this, to any YouTube creator out there, to anybody in any YouTube creators community. I'm calling you out. I'm calling you out. 2023 is coming upon us real fast, and it's time to make a fucking difference in this country. That's going to make a difference in this country. So I challenge, and I'm calling out every YouTube creator, every YouTube creators community, to come join up with Get2Know, and let's stand up for our children and protect our children now before it's too late. Let's stand up, join with Get2Know. Let's make a push to get laws changed, to get penalties stiffened, to make people want to not commit crimes against children anymore. If you make the penalty for sexual abuse towards a child a lifelong sentence without parole in prison, the numbers are going to go down. Okay, Coffee Talk, I appreciate it. So spread the word. Tell them, come join up with Get2Know. Let's make this fucking change happen. 2023 is the year to take on sexual abuse towards children and deal with it on a real level. No more talking, no more bullshit. I challenge all of you. I call every one of you out. I don't care who you are. I don't care who you are. If you have a YouTube channel, if you are a creator on YouTube, TikTok, any other fucking social platform, Andrew Scott, right here, calling you out. Come join me. Whether you like this face or this person right here, that's beside the point. I may not like you as well, but thank you, Coffee Talk. Thank you, Coffee Talk. I appreciate that. Even the small channels can make a difference, Coffee Talk. That's for sure. So, all of you, I don't care. I might not like you, and what, even rap. This might get around to him. Even rap is welcome to come, and thank you, Maggie M. How are you tonight? Just listening, but here, I appreciate it. Even for rap, I don't see eye to eye with him, and that is what it is. But that's neither here nor there. What's important is, what do you think? How do you feel about these crimes, and what do you think we should do? You're welcome here. Come on in. Come on. I don't care what you think of me or any of that shit, because this isn't about me, and this isn't about any other single creator. This is about our children and keeping them safe. Making changes to make a difference. This is Get2Know. This is Andrew Scott. This is Get2Know. Like, subscribe, share. You're right. Uniting for children. They are number one. That's right. That's right, Coffee Talk. Absolutely. Absolutely. So like, subscribe, share. Let people know. Challenge people to make a difference. Bring it to the community. And let's make a fucking difference before it's too late for our children. Much love, respect. Have a good one. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Thanks. Oh, remember, one child is one too many. One child is one too many.
Stop it, no, yeah. No, yeah.